Hi, thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Jennifer McCall, and I am in the Programs, Partnership, and Outreach Division of the Harris County Public Library. We're very excited about this first program tonight because this author and illustrator, he writes for kids, but also adults get a lot out of the work. You will recognize many of his books, as well as illustrations that he's done in other books. He is the author of The Dot, Ish, Word Collector, and tonight he's going to read to us from his latest book, The Peace Train. Please welcome Peter H. Reynolds.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
It's
exciting.
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful to be with you. And yeah, it's great to connect the dots with everybody.
Yeah.
I am, are we good on audio?
Yeah, and I was going to mention real quick, we are going to give away a few copies of books. I'm sorry I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So please watch your comments if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, and you can win. And also grab a pen and paper because you will get to draw along with Mr. Reynolds. And I'm going to say goodbye for a minute and let him talk to you kids.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer, and wonderful to be connecting with all my friends in Harris County. I know probably there are other people from around the country, maybe around the world. If there's a chat window, I do believe, so you could jot down where you're from, and maybe if you've read some of my books before. As Jennifer kindly mentioned, yeah, I illustrate a lot of books, my own books like The Dot and The Word Collector. You might have. You might know this one. Michelle and Barack Obama read this during lockdown last year. And if you get a chance to check that one out, it's a really good read aloud. They did a great job, I have to say. And I also collaborate. By the way, I am a word collector. I love words. And one of my favorite words is collaboration. And I collaborate with Megan McDonald on the Judy Moody series. Also, Susan Verde on the I Am series. I Am Love, I Am Yoga, I Am Peace, and our new one is called I Am Courage. I Am Courage. So stay tuned for that one. And I heard that it was Harris County's birthday, so I just wanted to do a little shout out here. Happy 100th birthday to Harris County and Library. That is so awesome. Thank you for being stewards of books. I love books a lot. In fact, I love books so much that I actually have my very own bookstore just around the corner from my studio. I'm in my messy studio right now. I'm surrounded by my books and my art supplies and my music. And speaking of music, during lockdown, a musician was looking for me. Yeah, a musician looking for an artist. And that musician's name is Cat Stevens. His name is also Yusuf Islam, and he's known now as Yusuf Cat Stevens. And 50 years ago, he wrote a song called Peace Train. Well, he was looking for me. He called HarperCollins. HarperCollins called me and said, Cat Stevens would like to talk to you. And I said, that's cool. So we Zoom chatted like this. And he told me how much he loved my artwork. And I said, well, thank you so much. That's so kind. I said, I love your music. In fact, your album Teaser and the Firecat was one of my very first albums that I ever bought. And he asked me if I thought that I could make a picture book out of his song Peace Train. And this is it, Peace Train. And so this is the cover. There's lots and lots of detail. Can you see any hearts? Yeah. Do you see any flowers? Do you see any stars? Do you see Saturn? Do you see a peace sign? Yeah, there are a lot, right? A lot of each of everything I just mentioned. And if you get a copy of this book, you can look at all the different details in the book. A picture book has words, but it has pictures, and pictures are like 1,000 words. Maybe you've heard that. So I'm going to read these words to you. And by the way, if you happen to have a marker and you want to draw while we're reading, I encourage doodling, because that's what I did in school. All the way through school, I practiced being an artist, and some of my teachers appreciated it. And so if you want to, you know what, before I read, I'm going to just show you a very simple shape. And you know I wrote a book called The Dot. Whoops. And that was, there's a lot of energy in the studio. Our camera went flying here, so sorry about that. If that happens again, we're going to have to give away a free book to somebody. All right. Well, we're going to do that anyway. But anyway, here's a shape that I really like. What shape is that? Right? Is that it's a circle or a dot, right? Dot-ish shape. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you to make the peace sign, because the peace sign is a really cool symbol. It's a symbol of peace and kindness. And what you do is once you've drawn your circle, you draw another line, and you kind of split it in half, right? And if you're a twin, you know what that's all about. I'm a twin, by the way. And then you draw what kind of looks like a mountain, right? Add that. So there's the mountain. And that, my friends, is called the peace symbol. And so adults, you can be drawing along too. And you can proudly sign your peace dot and put it, and you can color it in if you'd like. It could be different colors. And if you want, you can use your imagination and make a peace flower. We can turn this into a flower because we have imaginations, right? Imaginations are a pretty wonderful thing. So what we're going to do is I'm going to continue this line down like this. And it kind of begins to look like a lollipop, right? Or could be a flower, but a flower has leaves. So I'm going to put some leaves. These are my leaves. This is how I'm doing my leaves. Your leaves can be any way you want them to be. This is leaf-ish. And then if you want to get super fancy, you can put some petals on here. So I'm going to put some petals. And this is the loop-de-loop variety of petals. And there we go. So we have a peace flower. And then you can add detail. You could put a sun in the sky. You could put some birds flying by. You could put grass growing high. There we go. There's mine. A little bit of detail. And then at the end, you can sign it. And I don't want you to sign it Peter H. Reynolds, because that's my name. But I signed it Peter H. Reynolds. And there's my name, Peter H. Reynolds. But you can sign your artwork with your amazing name. And so my friends, that's a little drawing, and we're going to get rolling on the peace train. And speaking of rolling, do I have it here in my studio? I've got something. There it is. What I have a ticket. It's a train ticket. And check this out. This train ticket says, right, passenger name, Harris County, date of departure today, July 29th, 2021. So this is our ticket. So we're going to go on board this imaginary train. And if you believe that good things are coming, if you believe that there needs to be more peace in the world, that we can make it happen, this amazing train will magically appear in front of your house, and you can jump on board, and you'll meet me and Cat Stevens on board the peace train. And by the way, I'm going to read you the song, but you can also hear Cat Stevens singing the song on Instagram, YouTube. It's all over the place. It's on my Instagram page, which is peterhreynolds.com. Put this H in there. H stands for Hamilton, like the hit Broadway musical, Peter Hamilton Reynolds. So peterhreynolds.com is my website, but my Instagram is at Peter H. Reynolds. And you can hear Kat read this to you. So at the beginning of the book, we get another ticket. You can write your name on there. And this is how it begins. Peace Train, written by my friend, who Yusef is now my friend, Yusef Cat Stevens. Now, I've been happy lately thinking about the good things to come. And I believe it could be something good has begun. And you can see our friends on the mountaintop. And our friend is playing guitar, making some beautiful music. And we've got a cat and two birds. And there's something, if you see the detail down here, you see a little something rolling along in the horizon. What could it be? Oh, I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one, right? Isn't that, what if we all got along and everybody were friends, like that cat and the bird, right? Usually cats, what do cats like to do to birds, right? They like to chase them. I think sometimes they like to eat them. But look at this. These birds are hanging out with our friend. And I believe it could be someday it's going to come, because out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. And here are our friends up on the mountain. Let's see, there they are, up on the mountain. And then down below in the valley, can you see it? Yeah? Can you point to the train? The train is huffing and puffing across the horizon. Oh, peace train, take this country. Come, take me home again. And I'm wondering if our friend is going to make it, the train. It's kind of moving fast. Let's see. We'll turn the page. We'll find out. Running along there, our friend's running along. Now, I've been smiling lately, thinking about all the good things to come. And I believe it could be something good has begun. We can actually see inside our friend's imagination. And what's the biggest thing in his imagination or her imagination? Right? It's the peace sign. And there's lots of other things, like from the cover. There's rainbows and flowers and stars. Oh, peace train, sounding louder. Here it comes. There's the peace train. It's pulling into the station. Who's going to be at this ready to go on the peace train? There's a whole bunch of his our friends. Glide on the peace train. Come on the peace train. And there it is. There's the peace train. And you can see, whoops, let's see. We'll start from this end. And we're rolling along. And look, there's somebody who missed the jumping on the train. Do you see who it is? Right? It's one of the cat. The cat. Is the cat going to make it? Yes. This is a very positive book. So our cat jumps on board. Peace train, holy roller. Everybody jump on the peace train. And there's our little friend jumping on the peace train. Get your bags together. Go bring your good friends too, because it's getting nearer. It soon will be with you. And there's everybody. Look, the train's getting more and more full. People are so excited. Now come on and join the living. It's not so far from you. And it's getting nearer. Soon it will all be true. Oh, peace train, sounding louder. Glide on the peace train. Come on the peace train. So now we can see the whole peace train with and look what's pouring out of the front. It's not smoke or steam, right? Those were all the beautiful flowers and the peace signs. And we got lots of people on board, including Teaser and the Fire Cat and our friend who's playing guitar for everybody. Now, I've been crying lately. What happened? Thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? So look what happened. The train had to stop because, the train tracks are damaged. How are they going to get across? Are they going to stop? Are they all going to have to get out of the train? I don't think so, because guess what our friend does? Our friend gets out of the train and begins to play a song. And look at the song, the musical notes. Have you ever heard of laying down tracks before? If you're a musician, you know what that means. If you record, laying down tracks. So our character, our friend, is laying down some tracks. And our friend says, why can't we live in bliss? Bliss is a great word. It means happy, right? Happiness. Why can't we all be happy? That's a good question. And so look what happened. Our friend made a bridge, a magical bridge. And if I go in for close-up, you can see the magical notes. Because out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. There's no stopping that peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country. Come take me home again. Wow, look at all those people, right? They've all heard about this peace train, and they want to be on board. And I have a feeling this is a magical peace train that just has more and more cars as time goes on. And at the very end of the story, there's a wonderful author's note from Cat Stevens. And I'll let you read that when you get a copy of this book if you go to your library, all right? Maybe the Harris County Library or whatever library is nearby, or maybe you're lucky enough to get your own copy of the book. Maybe go to your independent bookstore. Do you know the name of your independent bookstore? Give them a shout out, right? They need your love right now. So get down there. Maybe you could get one of these books for a friend. But when you get the book, you can read Cat's note. And he writes, let's see. Gosh, each of us has the power to imagine and to dream. We all have our own picture of what a place called heaven would look like. And the one thing for sure we'd all expect to find there is peace. That's why my song is based on a train gliding to a world we would all like to share. So there's more here, and it's very inspirational. It will warm your heart. And there's a picture of our friend, right, playing music and singing, and our friends are also singing as well. And in the back of the book, you can see, look at all that detail. There's a lot of detail to look at. And there's a picture of Cat. There's my buddy Cat with a really groovy peace shirt. And there's me. Yep, there's me. And that, my friends. Oh, and on the back of the book, I like this one. Right? All aboard. All aboard. All aboard the peace train. So I am so excited about this book. And Yusuf, Cat, he was so excited. He said, Peter, do you want to do another book? I said, yeah, that'd be awesome. So we're doing another book, and it's called If You Want to Sing Out, Sing Out. So it'll also be published by HarperCollins, publisher of Peace Train. And so I just want to say a big thanks to HarperCollins for connecting the dots with me and my buddy Yusuf. And it just is exciting to be able to help bring some light to Yusuf's Cat's work, and also put a spotlight on his work. He has the Peace Train Foundation, which is bringing food and water and resources to communities in area of conflict. So he is trying to make the world a better place. He's using his creativity to do that. And I hope that that inspires you to want to use your creativity, your art, your writing, your songs to make the world a better place. And that is what I'm doing here in my studio. I am working on 5-6 new books right now, and I'm just super, super excited to share those as time goes on. And I would, after this, if you want to post your, if you drew a peace flower, I would love for you to tag me at Peter H. Reynolds, and I would love to see your peace flower. And I believe we still have a little bit of time for some questions. Is that right, Jennifer?
Yes, we do. And we've been having some wonderful comments coming in from our viewers. So I'd love to share some of these with you.
Oh, please do. Please do, because I am not able to see the chat right now. So you could.
Sure. Yeah, I can just kind of let you know who's out there and what they're saying. So first of all, of course, a few people asked, what is our independent bookshop? It's Blue Willow Bookshop.
Yes, Blue Willow.
So, yeah, they're wonderful.
My shop is called Blue Bunny. So.
Oh, wonderful.
Blue Willow. I could picture the blue bunny asleep underneath the blue willow.
I noticed a blue bunny on your cup. Is that correct?
That's right. I have a blue bunny. Someone, Megan McDonald, actually, author of the Judy Moody series, bought me this cup because she said, oh, I thought of you in the Blue Bunny bookstore.
Oh, that's neat. How long have you had your bookstore?
18 years. 18
Oh,
years.
wow.
As long as the
that's
Dot,
awesome.
we opened up the Blue Bunny the year that the Dot was published.
Okay.
And that was 2003, so 18 years ago. The Dot came out, and I opened up my bookstore. And
Oh, that's so exciting.
so come visit, everyone.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
just outside of Boston, so come find us in Dedham, Massachusetts.
There you go. And I'm sure if you look up Blue Bunny, you can find it online as well.
You can.
So first question is from Jim Marie Rodriguez Navarro, and they say they are from Mexico and Puerto Rico, but they're living in Texas, so they just wanted you to know.
Awesome.
Linda says, I am a 3-year-old preschool teacher at Little Lambs in Cypress, Texas, and we love the Dot.
Thank you.
Selenia Paz says, she's in Houston, Texas, and she loves your books. Some of her favorites are Happy Dreamer and Sky Color.
Thank you.
Lou says Peace Train is beautiful. She needs to pick up a copy. And her favorite Peter Reynolds book is Happy Dreamer because it reminds her of her best friend, Jake.
That's lovely.
Isn't that sweet?
I was a happy dreamer in school, by the way.
Yeah, is that how you came up with that?
I still have an imagination, but in school it was a little difficult for me to focus. And I had to learn how to take this brain that was drawing all the time and looking out the window and learn how to focus. And I figured it out eventually, but later on I thought to myself, I was an amazing, delightful, happy dreamer. And I decided to write a poem about that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, it's such a beautiful book too.
Thank you.
Let's see. Here's a question from Linda. Oh, look.
Yeah, I was just pointing out that
that's beautiful.
Sky Color is the sequel to Ish, which is the sequel to the Dot, which turns into a trilogy, and I call it the Create Trilogy.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Linda's asking, how long have you been an illustrator author? And I think you kind of mentioned that. Was Dot your first work then?
There was the North Star before that. And there were a few little projects I had done, but I would say the first one that I had written and illustrated was the North Star, which got republished by Candlewick Press. So you can find that through Candlewick, or you can go visit the dotcentral.com, which is home to all of my books, and you can order my books, and I can add your name and sign it for you if you'd like. Nice. And it's also just a good way to see all of my books in one place. So the dotcentral.com.
Great, thank you. Let's see, here's another question. This is another comment from Jim Marie Rodriguez Navarro, and they ask, what is one of your favorite books?
Ooh, one of my favorite books of all time, like of anyone, or my books?
Well, maybe we'll do both because I'm not sure which, which they mean, so.
Well, I think one of my all-time favorite books is a book by Roald Dahl, who wrote many great books like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but one of my favorite books is Matilda, because Matilda loves books. Matilda loves to read. Matilda has a great imagination, and she's a great storyteller, and she also has an amazing teacher. And I just love books that honor teachers and show how much that one teacher can change a life of a student. And so if you get a chance to read that, and especially families, read that one out loud together. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. So Roald Dahl, Matilda, and out of all of my books, I would say, well, I have a special fondness for my book Ish, which is the sequel to the Dot, and because I think it's a really helpful word. It helps us relax and not be so critical about our writing and our work and ourselves. I want people to feel good about themselves and keep trying, because that's the way we get better at things, right? If you give up, you get rusty, right? So I'm going to keep going and never stop. But my brand new book that's coming out this fall is called Our Table. And I might tell you a little bit more about that one, but that might be my newest favorite book.
Thank you. And I noticed behind you one of my all-time favorite books, which is The Phantom Tollbooth. Phantom Tollbooth, that is my copy. And I wrote inside it when I bought the book. And so I've got a couple of books from when I was a child that I still have with my mother would always say, write your name into the book and put the date. And it's just really fun. It's fun to have
have that book. That was I think I got that when I was about 10, and it was a pretty heavy read at age 10.
Right.
But it's wonderful because every time you read a book, you get more out of it. As you get older, you get more out of it. So you could start reading it, out loud, even if you're in kindergarten.
Definitely. It's funny that coincidence that my brother gave me that book when I was 10, and I have his little boy handwriting in there. Birthday, Jennifer. And yeah, so
that's a treasure.
I also have that in my case, and it's a little treasure.
Yeah. And you can ask another question. I'm just
sure.
a little.
Let me see what else we have here. TJ says, hello, Peter.
Oh, hello, Terry Shea.
Amber Robbins wanted you to know that her 7-year-old and 5-year-old are watching, and they think this is great.
Oh, that's awesome. What are their names again?
It doesn't say their names. The parent's name is Amber Robbins.
Well, Amber Robbins is a beautiful name. Sounds like an author. Doesn't it sound like an author name?
It does.
Pulitzer Prize winner, Amber Robbins.
Yes.
I love that. Amber Robbins. In fact, you know what? I think everybody has an author name. Mm-hmm. And all you have to do is write it on the cover of a book and just check it out. See how it feels. Terry Shea, right? Terry Shea.
Yes.
That's a great author name.
Definitely. Kimberly Tiller says, thank you for sharing your wonderful passions and art. And
Thank you.
I'd ask you how you got into drawing and authoring, if this was something you always wanted to do, or if you kind of worked your way to it through other careers.
There's a little progress here. Yeah. Gosh, I think I just discovered how it made me feel. It made me feel very joyful when I was a kid, and I could entertain myself for hours and hours. And in fact, my brother and I, we would do the squiggle game where, he would make me a squiggle and I would make him a squiggle. And then we'd use our imagination and say, what could we turn this into?
Okay.
And, that just really, that taught me, let's see if I can make it.
That looks like a Roald Dahl character right there.
Right. But that to me, it was like a magic trick. Mm-hmm. Turning, it's like abracadabra. And suddenly there's this guy who probably has a name and has a boat, and he's probably got 25 cats, and they all go fishing together out on the high sea. Can you imagine that? 25 cats.
I love that. Yeah.
Right. So I just made that up, but that's the amazing thing about imagination, is that you can start with nothing, a blank page, right? That a blank page could be something amazing. All you have to do is put this amazing brain to work. And I just had so much fun that I decided, if I'm having this much fun, I should not stop. And of course, like I said before, if you keep doing something, you get better and better and better, and you don't get rusty. And then I discovered that I could share stories and ideas with people, and that picture books were actually a pretty cool way to do that.
Definitely. I was also going to ask you, how many languages are your books in? I read 20.
Yeah, at least 20. Some of the books are in 25 languages.
Wow.
Interestingly enough, that there are about 25 languages, main languages that the publishing world addresses.
Okay.
There are some smaller audiences that have different languages. There are actually over 6,000 languages.
Wow.
And dialects. So stay tuned, because I may have some books in a few more languages.
Oh, that's awesome. Emily asked you, what is your favorite book you've written? But you kind of already answered that, and she just thanks you for all of your work.
Oh, thank you. Oh, but one of my favorite books is Sharon Creech. She wrote a book called Love That Dog.
Yes, that's wonderful.
It's kind of like my book Ish, but about writing and poetry. And it reminds people that poetry can be just the words that spill from your heart.
Right. Very fun too.
Right.
And then we heard back from Amber Robbins, and the names of her 7- and 5-year-old are Olivia and Gabriel.
Olivia and Gabriel. Those are awesome names. Olivia and Gabriel. The Adventures of Olivia and Gabriel. I love that. That is great. And do you know
I
what?
love names.
Gabriel and Olivia, G-O. So maybe the book could be called Go.
Right?
Exclamation point. The Adventures of Gabriel and Olivia. I can see it already.
I think you're onto something. New question is, what classes have you taken that have helped you with your writing and your creativity?
Let's see. One of the best classes I took is one called Life, Life 101. But seriously, having a child, I have 2 children. I have Sarah and Henry, and they both have inspired me because of course, they love books, so I would read to them.
Sure.
And I think after reading about 500 books to Sarah, I realized that, that maybe I could just tell her story instead of reading one. And she loved that. And I thought, I kind of knew what her attention span was, which was about 6 minutes,
Sure.
And so I kept it short and sweet. And then I would draw the pictures and it turned into picture books. So I would say the best thing is find a brilliant kid and write a story for them. That will teach you how to write.
That's a great advice. And I think that, volunteering at libraries, once that's possible again, too, is a great way to get to know some children if you don't have any in your life right now. And you're interested, kind of hearing how they think and spending time with them in a safe setting. Oh, that's beautiful.
There we go. This is the little character from Peace Train.
I noticed that you had characters from all over the world in that book, and it made me wonder how you decide which kind of people you're going to put in which story.
I'm trying to reflect that the world is a very diverse place, and I just kind of use my imagination. I actually, in my head, I kind of travel the world, and say, this person could be from Canada, this person could be from Africa, this person could be from India, and it's so thanks for noticing. That's the book is about peace, and we need this whole world to be peaceful, so I wanted to reflect that people from all over the world, different cultures, can come together to be peaceful.
I was going to ask you a little bit about illustrating for Judy Moody and how that came about, and how many years you did that and that kind of thing.
Sure. I started doing Judy Moody books over 20 years ago, and here we go. I just put a little color in his hair, or her hair. And Judy Moody, been doing it 20 years, and actually Megan and I we do one book, one Judy book and one Stink book every year. And so she's been keeping me nice and busy, and I'll just here's a quick Judy. She kind of looks like she's got a question mark in front of her face. Yeah, right? She
does.
And then she's kind of got wild hair, depends on the day, and if she's found her brush or not. And she's got that curly Q on the top, and some eyes, and her nose, and depending on her mood, we'll make her in a pretty good mood. But Judy Moody's a pretty moody girl.
Yes. How long did it take you? How many variations of Judy did you make before you found one that you both liked?
I just found the other day, I found the original sketches, and it wasn't terribly long, but I mean, I probably did about 20 different versions of her, just different.
Sure.
Funky girl. I had her hair pulled tight. I had ponytails. And then I reread the opening of the very first book, and it's the first day of school, and she's completely unprepared, and she rolls out of bed, and her hair is an absolute mess. I just made this big smoosh of hair, and the hair is falling in her face, and I just thought it would be kind of cute to have a little signature mark, so I put that little curly Q on the top of her head.
Oh, that's great. We have some new comments from the audience. Celeste Plew says, my newborn son just watched Read Aloud and was put fast to sleep. His middle name starts with an H2 and his last name is Blue. I'm so glad he can learn and compassion through your work as he grows up.
That is lovely. That is lovely. And lovely name too.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
And then Susan says, great program, exclamation point.
Thank you.
I'm wondering too, you mentioned Sharon Creech, and we talked a minute about Phantom Tollbooth. Are there any other books that maybe kids wouldn't have noticed or parents wouldn't have heard of that you would recommend?
Well, there's a really a absolutely terrific series, and it just happens to be a Texan author that my daughter Sarah and I discovered when she was a little girl. Sarah's now 33 years old, but when she was 3, 4, 5, we discovered Hank the Cow Dog by John Erickson.
Mm-hmm.
And we would listen to the tapes. If you have not heard John reading his own work and singing his own work, you have missed out on an American classic.
I'll have to do that. I have not.
He is terrific, and so I learned how to do his an impersonation of him reading the book. So I would read, and it would always start out with, "It's me again, Hank the Cow Dog." And there was trouble on the ranch. And he has this great friend named Grover who is completely hapless. And the two of them together are completely hapless. And there's a cat on the ranch who actually is in charge. But Hank and Drover have no clue that the cat actually is in charge.
Sure.
And Hank and Drover are supposedly the head of ranch security. So they're in charge of securing the ranch. And it's just very, very funny, a delightful, really an amazing treasure. So big thumbs up to John.
Great.
Hey, John, if you're listening.
Yes, and I've read those over the years, but I've not ever tried the audio. So I learned something new today, too.
Yeah, they're really, truly a treasure. They're a treasure.
Oh, thank you. You've got a new question here from Emily. She says, do you write every day?
Do I write every day? Well, I draw every day. And I try, it's interesting. I mean, I'm writing little notes here and there. Like I'll get an idea and I'll just jot it down. And they're all over the place. And then I collect them and I put them in. I collect old picnic baskets. And I just throw in all my doodles in the picnic basket. But I also have journals too. And I try to, well, I'll do a drawing and then I'll write about the drawing. And it'll just pop out of my head. Like I showed you, this guy, and then suddenly I had this idea for a cat boat full of cats fishing. And so I would, what I'll do is I'll just write a little description, and sometimes it turns into a poem, and sometimes it spills out as a whole story, the way the North Star did. That spilled out at midnight one night.
Oh, that's awesome. And that was also a children's book? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with one. The
North Star. Is that the one I just mentioned? Yeah, North Star. Yeah, it is a children's book for all ages. It's a picture book for all ages. And it's about a little boy who gets lost in a swamp.
Oh,
and
wow.
He has to figure his way out. And he discovers a map that he had the whole time. He was never really lost. And I'll let you know ahead of time. The map are the stars above him.
Aw, I love that.
And I wanted to write a book to remind all of us that, sometimes we have good days, sometimes we have bad days, and sometimes we feel like we know what we're doing, and sometimes we don't know. We don't know what the future is going to hold for us. And I wanted to encourage people to say, you know what? You kind of already know. You actually do know. And the more you get to know yourself, it's like a map that's inside of you.
Right.
And the more that we find out what you're interested in, right? If you love animals, if you like to write, if you want to travel, if you like a particular book, you can start gluing those all together like a constellation.
Yeah. That
will inspire you. And like teachers and librarians, right? If a librarian knows you like motorcycles, they can immediately think, oh, you better read Jack Kerouac, or we'll find you the right book, or it might be the history of motorcycles, or the how to make a motorcycle. So,
right. Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance.
There we go. Very good.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And the North Star is a good metaphor for, of course, your spirit and your soul. And
yeah, a lot of college, when kids graduate high school or college, they get the North Star book.
Oh, that's a great idea.
But I think it's never too early. I mean, kindergarten, first grade.
Mm-hmm.
Why not start thinking about, become a philosopher about yourself, become a thinker about your own journey, and realize that you have control over that journey, right? And you can inspire yourself. And if you tell your mom and dad or your family, that you love photography, there might be a photography museum nearby, or they could help you find. Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And we can help you at the library too, like you said.
Absolutely.
We have resources. We do have a new comment from one of our viewers on YouTube. And he says, my daughter loves Judy Moody, and we just introduced her younger brother to the doc. So it seems like you're still getting new and fresh readers.
That's the wonderful thing. Every year, we have new readers. So I have my Sarah just had a baby. So Thomas David Lowell Hobbs is my grandson. And
congratulations.
So now I got a big pile of books ready to read to Thomas. So yeah, every year we got new readers. So and there are beautiful, wonderful classic books on those bookshelves. So everybody, if you've got a favorite book, let people know. Tell somebody, because that book could turn somebody on to reading, right? Because sometimes it's like some people are like, oh, I'm not sure about reading. I don't know if I'm a good reader, or maybe I'm too slow. And which, by the way, I was a very slow reader when I was growing up. It took me a long time to read a book.
Right.
And kids were, going through the pages fast, and I was on page, 1, and I realized later on that what I was doing was I was turning the words into pictures. And then creating a movie inside of my head. And I was really kind of enjoying this movie. And I realized that if I wanted to read a lot of books or more books, I would probably have to speed up the camera.
Right.
And so I learned how to read a little bit faster, but even today I read slowly because I want to see that movie and really enjoy it.
Sure. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. We do have another question that just came in, and this asks, do you illustrate all of your own books?
Do I illustrate all of my own books? That's interesting. Oh, right. So like someone else could illustrate my book. I've not done that yet. So I don't know who asked that question, but
it didn't say a name. It's one of those codes on YouTube.
Okay.
KRE85.
I was going to say, whoever that was, do you want to illustrate one of my books for me?
There you go. There you go.
But that's a really cool future project. So if anybody out there wants to illustrate one of my stories, let me know.
Oh, that could be really intriguing, right? You can have
maybe I could do a book without pictures.
Right.
That you could add the pictures to.
That would be awesome. I have another question for you that's just from me. I read somewhere that you were originally from Canada.
Yes.
And how long have you been in the States?
A very long time.
Okay, so you feel more American now?
I was born in Canada with my twin brother, and my family, my father was born in Argentina. My mother was born in England. My father went to England for school, and then World War II broke out. He went to Egypt. He came back to England, met my mother in London. They married, they had children. They went to Canada. They had 2 more children. They went to the United States. They had another child. And my grandfather was born in New Zealand, and he moved to Argentina, and then he moved to Brazil. And my grandmother is from Scotland. So I'm a journey family. I'm a Canadian by birth. I was born in Canada. I'm still a Canadian citizen. I actually have plans to become an American citizen after all these years. I filled out the form wrong the last time. So no. But yeah, I'm a citizen of the world.
That's wonderful, though. I mean, I think that opens up your perspective. Just, like.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
Technical difficulties. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's it is a rich world when you grow up with people in your community from other countries. My dinner table had lots of interesting conversations that wouldn't have happened if we were born in the United States.
Sure.
And so the immigrant experience is really important. So people who are new to this country, and I know there are a lot of people who are listening who probably are like me. We came to this country. My parents didn't know. My father didn't know what baseball was.
Oh, wow.
You know, my mother was cooking scones, and we were having tea in the afternoon instead of having milk and cookies. We would have tea and biscuits. So our experience is different than everybody else's. But I got the benefit of learning, the American experience, and then also having, the British and Canadian and Argentine, and it's a fun stew.
No, that is wonderful. It's really interesting. If you have time for one more question.
Sure.
Amy Wagner Campbell asks, who would your dream team illustrator be to collaborate with?
Ooh, wow, that's a really good question. Gosh, there's so many great illustrators out there. I would, wow, I'm going to have to think about that one. I'm going to have to think about that one. I think, gosh, Chris Van Allsburg is an amazing guy. If you read Polar Express, or The Mysteries of Harry Burdick, those are great books. And I was lucky enough to have dinner with Chris Van Allsburg at his house.
Wow.
And that was an amazing experience. But he came to my bookshop. I asked him if he could stop by. This is early November, a couple of years ago. I asked him to come and sign some copies of the Polar Express. And he said, well, I'm not really in the mood for a book signing. I'm in a bit of a rush and blah, blah, blah. So he came in and he started signing the Polar Express. This was like November the 11th.
Oh, man.
Just outside of Boston. And as he began to sign the Polar Express, I looked out the window of my bookstore and I saw snow begin to fall.
Was there a bell ringing?
It was, yeah. And I had chills and shivers. It's like, wow, this is so cool. Chris Van Allsburg is making it snow with his magic. But I think I'd also love to have children illustrate my books. I'd love to see a book that is just completely illustrated by kids.
Definitely. Wouldn't that be lovely?
That'd be awesome. And maybe my son Henry Rocket, he might illustrate one of my books.
Oh, is he also into illustrating?
He loves science and math, but he's
okay.
I predict he's going to be a really great artist.
Oh, that's neat.
And he already is.
So in his 30s, or?
Pardon me?
Is he also in his 30s?
Oh, Henry, he is 10 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought maybe
Sarah is the 30, right?
Okay, thank you.
Henry is 10.
Okay, that's why you don't know yet what he'll do. I thought maybe he's having a second wave of.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. It must be really fun and lively to have him around.
It really is. Well, for me, there's that wave. Sarah grew up, and then I opened up a bookstore. That was my second wave of hanging out with kids, and then my third wave is Henry, and now my fourth wave is my grandson. So, and I will always be a kid at heart. So I also gravitate towards adults who are grown-up kids.
Yes.
Because there are two kinds of big people. There are adults and grown-up kids. And the grown-up kids know how to have fun. They laugh. They know how to play and be silly and to draw and not say
perspective a bit. Yeah, I agree. Oh, thank you so much. This was such a treat.
This was lovely. Thank you for inviting me to help celebrate 100 years.
Yes.
100 years. That's so awesome. 100 years of Harris County Library. And thank you for being stewards of all those amazing books. And I hope, and I know that the library now is more than books. It's information and ideas and it's inspiration. So everybody get down to your local library, wherever it happens to be. And hang out with books. It's a good thing. It's good for the soul. And if you have an independent bookstore like Blue Willow Bookshop, go and hang out there because it's good. Right? It's good for the soul.
Definitely. Oh, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for tuning in. We do have one more Authorama event. This one is definitely only for parents or older young adults. It will be Carolyn Kepnes, who is the author of the book You and the book series that the Netflix show is based on. Thank you so much for joining us today, and take care.